Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL Don't Panic. So, starting to get a few price reveals. Don't think the game will be out today. I think it will be tomorrow. Just going to give some very, very early thoughts on these price reveals. I don't think we should be over-analyzing too much until we see the rest, and that's really going to really drive our thinking on what we can and can't afford and what strategy we're going to take, particularly for that. Particularly for that first four, five, 6 game weeks, wanting to try and get off to that strong start. For me, trying to hit that 70-point average, it's going to be very, very important in those early game weeks. And I am having some thoughts around that now, particularly with the new chips announcements. But I'm going to talk more about that in the season kickoff video, when we get that first draft out and some of my thinkings around chip strategies and where I'm going to try and look to achieve, as my regular subscribers from last season know, achieving that 70-point average. Talk about that more in the next day or two. These price reveals, though, Pickford 5.5. That one surprised me, but when I think about it, actually he didn't. He's been the top scoring keeper for the last two years in a row. Thought he was going to come in at 5, and if he had been 5, I think I would have gone for him. And I think he probably would have. I think most people probably would have. Yeah, going to give him a miss. I think that's one decision I'll make. Pickford's average has generally averaged that 4 points per season. The last couple of seasons, 4.16. But if Henderson say comes in at 4.5, Henderson's average has been just over 3.5. I just don't think that's worth 1 million difference if indeed Henderson does come in at that sort of price range. And there may be other 4.5 million options, but I think Henderson's, I think, where a lot of us are likely to go if he comes in at 4.5. So an average of 4.16 from Pickford, 3.55 from Henderson. If there's a 1 million price gap there, I don't think that's a difficult decision, is it? 8 nor 6 million. I think there is a decision there to be made if he is shown that he's not going to be a victim of pep roulette. You know, he is like having another attacker in your team. 6 million. If City start to fire up again, they didn't have a good season last year. There were some signs in the Club World Cup that they were going to be a better attacking force, but of course Al Hilal knocked them out and got 3 goals against them, and that defence looked bang average at best. So I don't think it'd be an early one to go for, but certainly one to keep an eye on and have on the watch list. Isak 10.5. Isak finished ahead of Haaland last year. I don't think it'd be an early pick to 10.5. The Newcastle fixtures are pretty difficult, but he could end up punishing you. So one to think about there. And of course, where will Isak be? Will he actually still be at Newcastle? I think he will be. I don't think he doesn't seem particularly determined to force a move, and Newcastle are not particularly keen to sell him. So I think he will still be there for at least another year. This guy, Wirtz, 8.5. That really surprised me. And I think most of us were expecting him to come in at the somewhere between 9 and 10. Well, I was going for 9.5. I heard a lot of people saying 10, others saying 9. 8.5. I think he's a lock-in. Particularly if you're considering Haaland over Salah. But the Liverpool double up wouldn't be that bad either, would it? I like that opening fixture a lot against Bournemouth, and I'll tell you why. Bournemouth are going to be going out with a completely new. Kirk is gone, Oyson gone. Yeah, going to be a pretty new defence. I think it could be one to target. To be honest with you, Wirtz I would say is almost a 90%. Oh no, you know what? 99% lock in on my team. I think at 8.5, you can't turn that down really. Now we've got the big two: Salah 14.5 and Haaland 14. Is there a decision really to be made there? Haaland. But you know what? The decision for me is, and it is based on their form at the end of last year. But of course, that's last season. What you could do with that money if you went with a no Haaland Salah draft. I mean, I showed it to a degree, although it was projected pricing, which we can see now is that a lot of those were inaccurate. in some ways inaccurate, in ways that I didn't expect them to be. Some that I expected to be more expensive, as in Verts, which has been in most of my drafts, has come in much cheaper. But what you could do with a no Salah Haaland team, you can, Palmer, Saka, you could have a hell of a midfield there, hell of a midfield, and and a strike force of Isak or Gyökeres or whatever, and a really strong backline with a few premiums and a couple of three or four really good three really good rotating, 4.5s or fives. I think I am seriously considering it, particularly with having those extra chips and going quite aggressive in those opening 5 or 6 game weeks. My own methodology, as I say, which is with using the spreadsheet and working off the averages of the team each week, etc., etc., etc. We're going more into that in a couple of days' time when the game's released. I'll go through it more thoroughly. It could really, really work for me. We've got it's a game of he who dares wins, and if you do something different and you get off to a flyer, boom, happy days. Now, there's 3 choices, I guess, isn't there? We've got Haaland or Salah or no Haaland Salah. You get it right, it's fantastic. Get it wrong, what I did prove last year, which I did get it wrong in those early games last year, it is recoverable. But get it right, ooh, yeah, still undecided. Still undecided. I certainly won't be going both. Not with that money. It's just too much damage to the team. But as I say, those last 10 games of last year, Salah was not pulling up any trees. Can you cover off that Liverpool attack? With Verts, Frimpong, and I cannot pronounce this name. As he started Ekitiki. I can never pronounce that. It's probably why I haven't spoken about him much. Yeah, lot to think about. But those are the the early price reveals. Pickford 5.5, Ayton already 6, Isak 10.5, Verts 8.5, Salah 14.5, and Haaland 14. What do you think? What else do I want to talk about? What else? Team names. Listen, I'm going to see if I can work out a little prize. I don't know what it'll be. Best team name. Put them in the comments. Last year I had He Sells Sancho Areola. He Sells Sanctuary. Get it? Yeah. Best team. What team name are you going with this year? I'm going to come up with a prize. I am the one and only judge. Put your team name in the comments. This will be for the FPL Don't Panic League, of course, which we'll hopefully be able to get the link up for that soon. So anyone that wants to be involved can join in the Don't Panic League. I do a weekly cup for who has the highest points, and at the end of the season, haven't decided what it is yet. I will have a prize. But yeah, first up, I'm going to come up with something. I'm out shopping today. Maybe I'll find something. Best team name. I'll have a think about mine while I'm out and about. Take care, have fun, play your own game, don't panic. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.